back on this 300 Ford head. The other day I did a crack repair here. I put a couple pins in here. Now it's time to put some valve seats in this thing. So I'm gonna put it on my TCM head machine and get some seats in this thing. Cylinder head in my TCM head machine. It's all nice and level. Here's the cutter I'm gonna be using. This has interchangeable carbide cutters on it. So if something happens, you can just give it a spin, or I guess catastrophic failure, you could change the whole bit. So I'm gonna cut these seats out. I'm gonna put you on hyperlapse and show you what I do. I just set the stop, so let's get to cutting. Finished machining this thing for hardened exhaust seats. This end cylinder is actually the one I did the crack repair on. You can kind of see that discoloration. That suture turned out awesome. So let's get these seats installed. Got all the valve seats installed, got it all level again. Now it's time to cut it with my 3-way cutter. All right, here we go. When I was using my cutter and doing that 3-way cutter, it was kind of biting at the bottom right here. You see that lip right there? This is kind of a universal seat that I was using, and I was gonna throat cut them after I did that 3-angle cut, but it was kind of biting into the cutter at the very base of it. So I'm just gonna have to throat cut these a little bit and then hit that 3-way cutter at the end. My 3-way cutter, and it was cutting at the very base of that thing where there's not really a sharp edge. So now I'm just gonna lay in a 75-degree angle and open up that C a little bit, and then I'll get back to cutting them 3 angles. Here's what it looks like when I'm all done. I was just opening up the bottom part of that seat so that cutter does what it needs to do. So let's do the rest. All right, that's what it looks like after all those throat cuts. Hopefully I won't go to jail for cutting throats. All right, well, now it's time to 3-way cut them. All right, here we go. All right, here's what it looks like when I'm all done. I got the bottom angle, which is a 60, and then right here is the 45, and then that little top is actually the 30, right here on the very top right here. So we got the 60, the 45, and the 30. I'm gonna put it in my grinding cabinet and buzz up all the seats with my Sioux tooling. I'll show you what I scored the other day. Check this out. So here's my grinding bench. I got my dresser, stone dresser, all my stones, pilots, some more stones. I got a bunch of springs over here. My stone holders. So I scored a bunch of these new old stock Sioux stones from this guy that came by my shop the other day. So Sioux went out of business years ago, and it's impossible to, you can't buy any new stuff, so it's only the old stuff is what you can get. And this guy came by the other day and had some stuff, and I ended up buying, me and my dad bought some stuff from the guy. I ended up getting like 61 or 62 stones, a couple Sioux stone holders, a stone dresser, a bunch of other stuff, and that Sioux stuff is just, it's badass. You can hog out a bunch of material with them if you dress it fast, and then you slow it down, and it'll just make a nice smooth finish. So they're really good stones. There's other companies like Goodson, Regis, Silver Seal that makes the stones, but not like Sioux did. That Sioux stuff's it's just really, really good. It's a bummer they went out of business. So I know you guys are gonna probably think, oh yeah, why are you using stones and blah blah blah, why don't you get a new cutter and this and that. Those stones, if you know what you're doing and you got good tooling, Those stones will outbeat a cutter, I think, in my opinion, as long as you know what you're doing and you just take your time, because you can move that 45 and put a bunch of other angles at 55, at 60, at 75. You can do whatever you want just by adjusting that dresser. And
now I'm grinding all the seats. I'm going to start off with the 45-degree angle, the angle that seats on the valve. Then I'll do the top angle, which is 30, and then finish it with the 60-degree angle at the bottom. And remember, when you're grinding seats, take your time and always keep that stone nice and sharp.
well, I just finished up the valve job. It turned out great. Let's check it out. So right here, I got the 45, this darker area. The top angle is a 30, and the bottom is a 60. Same on the intake. Dark area is 45, the top's 30, and the bottom's 60. So let me show you why I'm replacing these valves. So right now, at the top of the valve, I'm at 342, and then I'll go right where the valve stops when it's fully opened. Look at that, 341. So this valve has a thousandths wear in it. So I got the head in my surfacer, nice and level. Now it's time to give it a witness cut and see what it looks like. Alright, I just took a thousandths off this thing. Wasn't that warped, it's still not touching in the back here. I'm gonna do a thou and a half this way and then a half a thou back and see if that cleans it up. Well, she cleaned up at 3 thousandths, so now it's time for a hot bath and some fresh paint. Hey, so I just pulled the cylinder head out of the wash. I got all the new valves, new springs, new seals, the valve locks, all ready to assemble. So this, oh crap, I forgot to paint this thing. I'll be right back with some paint. All right, well, let's go get the paint real quick. I can't believe I forgot that. I'm a doofus. It's just right here in the cabinet. Holy crap! Oh, damn, did you hear that? It was way over here. What the hell was that? Holy crap! This thing's painted, look at that. What the heck's going on with these valve stem seals? Hey, what the hell are you doing up here? Ah! Oh, my God, you little bastard. You're going in the trash. Holy crap. That little guy scared the crap out of me. I just look up, he's right there, and I grabbed him and he's at me, but I choked him pretty good. He's not coming back for a while. So let's get back on this head and get it assembled. So I got a whole set of valves for this thing. If you're not gonna grind every single valve, I'll show you another tool you can use to check if those valves are true. All right, I got the valve in my runout gauge. It's about 2/10 out of round. That's well within spec. Dang, all those valves checked out awesome. It's always important to check your valves either with a runout gauge or regrind them in your valve grinder, because I've seen some of them be out around 3 or 4 thousandths right out of the box, and that'll compromise the whole job. Always check those new parts before putting them in something, because you'll have problems. So I'm gonna put you on a tripod and get this head all assembled. Here's my stem height gauge. It just tells me what the valve stem height is. And these are at 1 inch 900 thousandths. You always want to check all of them. Now I'm just using some assembler oil. I always put a little dab on the top side too. And then these pyramid seals. And then I got all these new valve springs. You want to be careful. I already checked them all. They're all in spec. The exhaust spring is a little bit shorter than the intake because it's running that rotator. So that's what the different sizes are. So you don't want to just throw those together. There's different ones because of the rotator on the exhaust. There you go. Next thing we're going to be doing is installing a dang freeze plug. I always use Permatex 1 on freeze plugs. It's a really good sealant. I've had no failures ever with using this. And I prefer it way better over like a silicone, like a RTV. And I don't know why Ford did it, but on this, instead of making just a straight 2-inch, this thing's a 2-inch and a 1/16. Kind of funky. They should have just, I don't know why they use these oddball sizes. Didn't need that big of a plug, but. All right, now it's time to pull vacuum. Make sure all these valves are sealing. Sweet. All those valves sealed awesome. I don't care how many sets of heads or engines you built in your lifetime, you always have to triple check your work. So every single cylinder head, I check it with my Sioux vacuum gauge to make sure everything's sealing properly. To show you, I ended up putting a heat tab on this. Every cylinder head or engine I rebuild, I put one of these on it. It tells me if the engine got hot. They put a little pretty much solder in the middle of this, and this one melts at 250 degrees. And I've had customers over the years tell me, hey, my engine didn't get hot, and then I go and show them, and I said, well, this tab shows me it did. So it really saves your butt in the end. More thing I forgot to mention, you always want to double check and make sure your valve locks are engaged properly, because if one of those pop out, you're gonna have some big problems. And another thing is make sure the spring itself is sitting on the spring seat properly. These heads don't really have an issue, but other heads, there'll be a little lip right here, and that spring could be kind of cattywampus and not sitting flush on that spring seat. So you always want to double check that stuff. Guys, well there you have it, all nice and ready to go. This thing turned out awesome. New valves, new springs, hardened seats, fresh paint, surface deck. This thing's ready to rock. Oh, I almost forgot one more thing. Shazam! There you go, bagged up, ready to go. If you guys made it this far, you've made it to the babbling part. These little 300 straight sixes are pretty solid motors. I don't know if you know a guy with one, but I've seen people get well over 200,000 on these little engines. They make good torque, they last a long time. And if you do get them hot, they do crack, but you have to get them pretty toasty. That's gonna wrap it up for this one. I'll see you guys in the next one.